This is no one from nowhere, and you are, and I am a spirit of God. Today I want to talk to you about the giant Anakim and Anunnaki in the Bible. First, a joke. What are the largest ants in the world? Giants. First, Genesis 6:4. At that time the Nephilim appeared on earth, as well as later, after the sons of heaven had intercourse with the daughters of men, who bore them sons. They were the heroes of old, the men of renown. Why were they the men of renown? And why is there a note by as well as later? According to Numbers 13:33, when the Israelites invaded Palestine and found their tall, aboriginal Anakim, they also likened by the name Nephilim. These were the race of giants who in Palestine and much around the world built the huge megalithic structures. They had superhuman strength and were also semi-divine. Were they the Anunnaki? In my opinion, yes. Once again, you be the judge. Today I will show you some megalithic structures, and the Anakim equal Anunnaki in the Bible. They have been called the Nephilim in the Bible, which means those who descended from Mars. They and their offspring are also known by other names, like Anakim, Watchers, Angels, Fallen Angels, the Sons of God, and even giants in the Bible, and some other books. Angel is the same as messenger. Watcher was the original Sumerian name. Fallen angels can be explained by the fact that they came down to earth, but since they married earthly women without the permission of Enlil, they considered as morally fallen. The sons of God applies to all Anunnaki on earth. Anakim, in my opinion, is a corruption of the word Anunnaki. Since they were considered as outlaws, they were forced to defend themselves and their families against all attacks from the Enlilites. The giant Anakim died out slowly and their skills degenerated in time. There was only a small piece left of the original strength and length compared to their ancestors, the first giants, with their enormous strength and length, could have had a length of 10 to 100 meters. Keep in mind, the length that is given in Enoch is 3,000 ells. It sounds unbelievable, but we know that this is the truth. The Anakim were quite tall and fierce. They were living almost all over the Middle East, Europe, America, and Asia before the destruction of the flood. There was a remnant of them after the flood, which possibly inhabited Ammon, Moab, Edom, and Bash, and with its fortified city, with high walls and gates with bars, just to name a few, who yet inhabited earth after the flood. This is the reasons behind the continued war and great slaughters with total destruction in the biblical times and stories. The giant Anakim in the Bible. In the Bible we find a large amount of stories regarding the Anakim and their degenerated offspring called the children of Anak, Amims, and other names. Here is one biblical proof of King Og, the giant, in Deuteronomy 3:11. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of giants. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Is it not in Rabbath of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth of it, after the cubit of a man. 1 cubit is from your elbow to your end of your big finger. It's approximately 1.5 feet. King Og was a small giant because he needed a length of his bed 9 feet 46 centimeters, equal to 4.14 meters. So his real length would be about 4 meters. As mentioned above, the giant Anakim were the offspring of the giant Nephilim from before the flood. Some biblical proofs found in Deuteronomy. Whither shall we go up? Our brethren have discouraged our hearts, saying, the people is greater and taller than we. The cities are great and walled up to heaven. And moreover, we have seen the sons of the Anakims there. Deuteronomy 2:10 through 11. The Emims dwelt therein in times past, a people great and many and tall as the Anakims, which also were accounted giants as the Anakims, but the Moabites called them Emims. Some biblical proof found in Joshua 11:21 through 22. And at that time came Joshua, and cut off the Anakims from the mountains, from Hebron, from Debir, from Anab, and from all the mountains of Judah, and from all the mountains of Israel. Joshua destroyed them utterly with their cities. There was none of the Anakims left in the land of the children of Israel, only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod there remained. Joshua 14:15. And the name of Hebron before Kirshaduddah with Abra was a great man among the Anakims, and the land had rest from war. The Emims were as tall as the Anakims, and belonged also to the giants, and there were children of the Anakims, and Moses referred that their children of the Anakims still lived on earth in the days of Joshua, and later still in the days of David, or Goliath's story. The children of the Anakims, or Anak, were as tall as their fathers, but the degeneration of the giant race in length and in strength was obvious, decreasing in those days because they were destroyed in a great number during the time of Joshua, Saul, and David. Moses spoke also of giants in the days of the journey out of Egypt, again proof that the gods, the Anunnaki, didn't destroy all of them during the flood, because they still lived thousands of years after the flood in great numbers. Proof is in the book of Enoch. And also, in Numbers, we see a fleeting picture of the character of these mighty ones. Numbers 13:32 through 33. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the son of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. Even the children of Anak, or Anakim, were still of great stature, still so great that Joshua and his army were like grasshoppers before them. So even after a long period of degeneration, the children of the Anakim were still giants in their eyes. Also, the Anak ate the inhabitants of that land. So these giants were cannibalistic, or cannibals. Some more biblical proof found in Deuteronomy 2:19. And when thou comest night over against the children of Ammon, distress them not, nor meddle with them, for I will not give thee of the land of the children of Ammon any possession, because I have given it unto the children of Lot for a possession. Also in Deuteronomy 2:22. And he did to the children of Esau, which dwelt in Seir, which he destroyed the Hermons from before them, and they succeeded them, and dwelt there in their stead, even unto this day. Deuteronomy 2:20. That also was accounted a land of giants. Giants dwelt therein in old time, and the Ammonites called them Zamzummins. Also Egypt was accounted as a land of giants in ancient times, or the children of Ammon. It's obvious that these giants also built large structures and walls. They were the builders of the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx. What do you think? What is your opinion? Even in the time of Saul and David, we can still find the giants in 1 Chronicles 26 through 8. And yet again, there was a war at Gath, where was a man of great stature, whose fingers and toes were 24, 6 on each hand, and 6 on each foot. And he also was the son of a giant. But when he defiled Israel, Jonathan the son of Shimei, David's brother, slew him. These were born unto the giant in Gath, and they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. 1 Chronicles 21:1. And Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel. Satan? With a question mark? He suddenly came back to earth in those days, warned by his offspring, and he grew angry at David and his servants because they destroyed Satan's offering. Even Satan was still on earth at that time, again proof that not all Nephilim were destroyed during the flood. In 1 Samuel, we can read the story of Goliath. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath at Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And he had an helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders, or a scimitar, and this is not the same as a sword. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. In Chronicles, we still see the same story, in 1 Chronicles 24 through 8. And it came to pass after this, that there arose a war at Gezer with the Philistines, at which time Sabachi the Hushadite slew Sapah. That was of the children of the giant, Raphaim, and they were subdued. And there was again a war with the Philistines. Do we need more proof that the children of the giant Anunnaki or Anakim still lived on earth in the time of Saul and David? In final conclusions, the children of the Nephilim and the daughters of men, or the children of Cain, were the giant Anakim with enormous strength and length, from 10 to 100 meters tall, and their lifetime was about 500 years. These giants who came down to earth from Mars were the builders of the enormous structures all over the world, including the pyramids of Egypt, Stonehenge in England, the serpent mounds, and many, many others. The offspring of the Nephilim and the daughters of men, the Anakim giants, created all kinds of demons and monsters, and they had the knowledge from their fathers, the Nephilim, to create whatever they liked, and so were born the most strange creatures on earth that ever existed. When we read ancient history carefully, we should have seen that almost all nations who ruled by kings made often war against each other. The phenomenon is left over from the times above discussed. Please keep in mind that these kings mostly were the offspring of the Anakim and Anunnaki, who learned to kill from their fathers the giant Anakim. Today, I leave you with a reminder that a house divided will not stand. How do you make a Kleenex dance? You put a little boogie in it. Only because you are and I am a spirit of God. Peace and love to you.